Hey everybody, we're going to start the class in about 5 minutes. We're scheduled to start the class officially in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to do a couple checks here with my microphone. If you can hear me, you could tell me. You type in your chat bar, you have a couple tabs. You have a chat, you have a poll, some attendee data, some pop-ins. And so if you go to the chat, you can type in any kind of question that you'd like during the home inspection training class. This is a live, online, free, open to everyone home inspection training class. My name is Ben Gromicko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And we do free, live, online home inspection classes almost every week. So if you don't know about them, you could subscribe to our monthly newsletter, and we put the training class announcements in our newsletter. And so this is a live class, and if you'd like to join the discussion, feel free to ask questions. Just hit the chat bar there, that tab, and type in your questions and make it to everybody so everybody can see your question. And if you don't see something on the right-hand side, it's because you haven't attended the live class. So you may be watching a video recording of this home inspection class. And so you won't see the things that the students see, such as the sidebar, chat, polls, and other offers that we're going to pop in during the class. So officially, we're going to start in about 3 minutes. So hang in there. Last time I checked, we had almost 1,000 registered students for this home inspection training class. And every month, well, basically every week, we do a training class, at least every month. And all of our training classes that we do online or video, they're all free. They're live. InterNACHI is also a course provider, and to access our training courses, certification programs, you have to be a member of InterNACHI. So you join as a member, and then you have unlimited access to all of our training courses. But this live home inspection class is open to everyone. So feel free to ask questions during the class. I'll try to get to them. Last time I checked, it was almost 1,000 students registered for the class. This class is also being recorded. So if you're watching a video recording, you won't see some of the details that the live student attendees see on the right side of our screens, such as a chat box. And officially, we're going to start in about 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, we'll start the home inspection training class. And we're going to perform a home inspection simply by reviewing a recent home inspection, all of the images that was taken during the inspection, and also the video. And we'll take a look at the inspection report as well. So welcome, everyone. My name is Ben Gromicko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. We're going to start in about 2 minutes officially. I want to give everyone a chance to log in. And if you want to contact anyone at InterNACHI, any of the staff or faculty or IT department or marketing department, go to nachi.org/contact. And that's our contact page. So everyone is there. You can also click that green button at the top of the contact page and get some answers to questions that you may have. So we're going to start in about 1 minute, giving everyone plenty of time to join in. We had, again, about 1,000 students register for this live class. InterNACHI puts on live home inspection training classes, at least once a month, sometimes once a week. And they're all live online, free and open to everyone. So feel free to ask questions. If you're attending this class live, there's a little chat tab that you could hit and log in. So welcome. My name is Ben Gromicko. I'm from InterNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And this is the home inspection training class number 8. And we're going to perform a certified home inspection on this old historic home. I picked this home because, well, it's kind of unique. It was a lot of fun to inspect and has a lot of defects. So as we go through the house, see if you can find the defects. And as we perform the inspection, we're going to refer to the standards of practice. The standards of practice for performing a home inspection. That guides your inspection. The standards tell you what you are required to inspect and not required to inspect. And if you want to go there, let's take a look. NACHI.org/SOP. And the standards of practice outlines everything that you need to inspect. So let's take a look here. And it's basically broken down into systems that we're going to go over during our class. There's the roof system, exterior, basement and foundation, crawl space, heating and cooling, plumbing, electrical, fireplace, attic insulation, ventilation, doors, windows, and interior. But you use the standards of practice to not only guide your inspection, but also structure the way your inspection report is written. So let's start with the roof. What I do is I go up on the roof. You are not required to walk upon any roof surface as a InterNACHI certified home inspector. It is well beyond the standards of practice. So if you're not trained to be on the roof, stay off of it. You are required to inspect the roof from the ground level or the eave if you want to get up there, or through a window, second floor window, and looking down. But one of the things that I do as a home inspector is I distinguish myself and my services. And one of the things that makes me unique when compared to a whole room of other inspectors is that I carry very tall ladders and I get up on the roofs. I've built homes. I'm trained to walk upon the roofs. So if you're not trained to walk upon the roof, don't. But this is one of the things that I do. So when I get up on the roof, I take a little shot. That's my van with the cone behind it so that I can pull off my equipment without anybody parking tightly behind me. And then I take pictures, and I bring 2 cameras with me. I bring a carpenter's belt with 2 pouches in the front, a digital camera in one hand taking pictures, low resolution. I'm not publishing a book here. Low resolution, small size, 6040 by 480, a couple hundred kilobytes in size, very small, no megabyte images. And these are them, so you can see them. They're fairly clear. The other camera that I hold is for video only. So I take pictures and video with 2 cameras. And I take pictures of all the planes of the roof. You can either do this while you're walking on the roof, or from the gutter edge, or from the ground. And I take pictures also to prove that I was up on the roof. This is actually part of my marketing strategy as well. So my brand is, like I said, I go up on every roof that I can safely. You're not required by the standards of practice. But one of these images is part of my brand. So this distinguishes me from all of my competition. I walk upon the roof and I get really close to the roof covering material. And then I send out that message through my marketing. And I use these images in my inspection report, which is essentially a huge, thick flyer, marketing flyer, a business card. Think of your report as something that other potential clients will be reading and making a decision on whether they should hire you or not. So these shots are for both my inspection service as well as part of my marketing plan. So I'm concerned about this vent stack. it terminates a little bit close to the roof surface. I want at least 6 inches. And since this is a northern cold climate house area, I know it gets snow accumulation. So I even want to be 6 inches above an anticipated snow layer. So this is kind of close. I'm not a code inspector, but this is an example of using code to formulate my opinions. So if I didn't know code, I wouldn't know that this is too short, right? Snow and ice can just block up this vent. And to look at codes, the IRC has graciously put their codes on the web for free for anyone to view. There they are. International Code Council puts all of their code online and free to everybody to go through. Now again, home inspectors are not code inspectors, but we can use the code in order to help guide our opinions, help formulate our opinions. Code is essentially when something goes wrong with a building or someone gets hurt, the code is changed to help the building perform better or help protect someone. So as the codes develop, so should our standards and our ways of understanding how a home performs and what is safe and not safe. I don't quote code during my inspection. I'm a generalist. I'm not an expert. Never be an expert. Never tell anybody that you're an expert. You're a general home inspector, and never quote code. You're not a code inspector either. So the roof system, I'm required by the standards of practice to inspect any penetration through the roof covering material. And here's a chimney stack. It's essentially another system. It's the chimney stack or the fireplace stack. Maybe it's part of the fireplace, maybe it's part of the heating system, but it is integrated with another system, the roof system. So I approach all of my inspections with the idea that a house is a system of interdependent parts. One part affects all other parts. So I'm looking at the roof right now, but I bump up against another part of another system. And this is the chimney stack. It's an old brick chimney stack. And I'm going to take a look at the flashing, the step flashing, the apron flashing. Oh, and then I drop a camera. I don't really drop the camera. I just put my camera at the top of the flue and I take a shot. And then I can zoom in as well. And I notice you don't have, again, the standards of practice doesn't require a home inspector to inspect the interior flue liner. But while I'm there, I do this for my client. So I take a picture and I realize it's a good thing I took a picture because I can now explain to my client with the digital image of what I see. It's a defect. If this is an active chimney stack, flue, then it needs a flue liner, a modern interior flue liner, and it doesn't. It's the original brick masonry chimney stack for this old historic home. And it's being used because I can actually feel at the top of this stack. It was kind of cold that day, but I could feel condensation, humidity, warmth coming on my hand. There's a close-up shot, zooming in. So when you inspect a house, understand that a house is a system of interdependent parts. One part affects another part. Here's another chimney stack. It's a different stack. It's not for a fireplace because I can see that the flue is square. Typically, fireplace flues are rectangular, right? But I want to take a look at this stack. It has a screen and a cap on it, but I carry tools. And one handy tool is this one in my belt. And I take it out and I unscrew the cap and I take a look at the flashing here. Flashing looks good. I take the cap off, the screen off, and I take a flue shot. I don't see anything wrong. You're not required to inspect the flue according to the standards of practice, but I want to take a look to see if there's anything that gives me indications of a defect. The valley looks great. Now I'm moving down my ladder, moving down the ladder from the very top. I go to the very top because I think about water and how water moves and drops from the sky and hits a building. So it hits the top things. What's the top? The roof covering. And it drains away, hopefully, into a gutter and drainage system So I'm following that water, following it around the roof penetrations, following it around the chimney, the vent flashings, the turtle vents, anything, the skylights, anything that diverts water away, I'm following it mentally and physically while I'm inspecting. I'm looking for any kind of problems with water shedding away from the house. So as it comes down the siding, as I bring down myself from the ladder down the side, I'm looking at the exterior coating. I'm still inspecting the roof system, but I'm doing other systems as well. And I stand on every plane that I can get to. So here's a little small porch roof in the back. I'm going to stand on that, feel the structure underneath my feet. Again, it's beyond the standards of practice. And take a look at the roofing covering materials up close. And so when you make a comment about the roof system, you really should talk about the roof covering material. That's all you really know right now. If you talk about the roof system, well, that includes the underlayment. And I can't see the underlayment, so don't talk about the roof system, right? You want to talk about the roof covering material. Talk about, explain, communicate, write in your inspection report the components of that system and what you see. You can't see everything, and you're not required to see everything. So I want to take a look at any opening through the building envelope, through the wall, while I'm inspecting the roof system. It's a great opportunity to take a look at the windows and doors and the flashing around those. And there's an electrical wire hanging out of a light fixture. It's probably dead, but I can't reach it. But it is a hazard, not properly installed. So I'm going to flag that. Now I write the report with a mobile device. I highly recommend getting a piece of software where it provides you the ability to write while you're inspecting. I don't want to write the report late at night. I'd rather spend time with my family. And I can't remember all the things that I found in the morning inspection or the afternoon inspection in the middle of the night. So what I want to do is I want to reduce my liability and increase my quality by writing the inspection report while I inspect. So by the time I get down off my ladder and onto the ground, I have already written the roof system. My report for the roof system and other components that are integrated with it is done. All the pictures are taken, all the videos taken, and all of the data is entered. So when you write with a mobile device, you beat a lot of your competitors. They're behind you, right? I beat my competitors because I branded myself as the inspector who walks on the roof, who gets really up close and personal with the roof covering, and I write with a mobile device. And I'm fast. So I speed up my inspections. And it's high quality report writing because I'm not trying to remember what I inspected at 7 o'clock at night after I put the kids to bed. Missing drip edge flashing. At the eaves, we were talking about this before, the drip edge is underneath the underlayment at the gutter edge, right? At the rake, the sideboard, the rake at the gable, the drip edge flashing is covering, holding, securing the underlayment. It's on top of the underlayment. There's metal roofs, different kinds of material. So on my mobile device, I'm standing on every type of roof covering material that I can get on, and I'm entering my observations. This is in fairly good condition, being an old 200-year-old metal roof. So a lot of inspectors use the phrase, no visible evidence of something, let's say roof leak. What we recommend is saying something else, saying, I did not observe any indications of, insert your defect, during my inspection. Two main reasons. One, you use the word no visible, or the phrase no visible. And that may connote that you are responsible for everything that is visible, which is not true. You are not required as a home inspector to report upon everything that is visible. You're only required to report upon the things that you saw that was a defect in deemed material, right? And the word evidence suggests that whatever is visible, and somebody could argue, was it visible or not? And you don't want to be in that argument. And then the word evidence suggests that if someone sees a roof leak 60 days later after your inspection, that is evidence, and therefore evidence is permanent. It isn't temporary, which in reality it is. One moment a wall could be wet, and the next moment it could be dry. So using the word evidence suggests that all conditions are permanent, and that's not true. So we'd recommend you use the phrase something like this: I did not observe any indications of, and then you insert your defect during my inspection. So just to give you a little tip there. So we have a lot of people registered to attend. We had almost 1,000 people registered to attend this live home inspection training class, free and open to everyone. A lot of you are using the chat button and asking questions. And I'm going to try to get to those questions as we go through the course. And Brad asks, HomeGauge is good for scheduling, report, and email follow-up, all being combined. So I should suggest you take a look at HomeGauge. And we have an e-commerce partner, Inspector Outlet, especially for those non-members of InterNACHI. And there's a discount for those non-members who want to purchase some of our some of the software off of inspectoroutlet.com. So take a look at that. Just looking at the questions. Looking at the questions. There's a lot of them. A lot of people are asking each other questions like, what kind of ladder system should we use, and what do you recommend? And how do you charge? So we can get to all those. And you can also discuss. So a lot of you are talking to each other. That's great. All right, let's go on with the inspection. So now I'm down on the ground. I've gotten off my ladder. I have a mobile device, so I am basically done with the roof inspection and with my inspection report of that system. And I'm following water. Remember, this is a home in Pennsylvania. It rains a lot and it's cold. And I am looking for downspouts that are not diverting water away from the house, like that one and that one. And also I want to take a picture of any downspouts that go underground, because I'm not responsible for underground pipes. Just can't see them. Now remember, I said that I bring 2 cameras. One is for digital images. The other is for video. And I don't want my client up on the roof, so I do a video just like this. So I take a short video, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, of the roof inspection, maybe other systems and components, especially if the house is vacant and I have no client with me. So that vent pipe there. So I'm taking some video, and then what I do is, part of my brand is, I play these videos for my client after the inspection. Right after the inspection, I ask them to come over into the kitchen where I'm set up, writing the summary report, and I turn my laptop computer around and I play these videos for my clients. And they realize that, wow, that's my roof, and my inspector has taken video of the roof. So they're really pleased. And it's one of those branding pieces that I market out to distinguish my services from all others. So the inspection report, my reports are about 50 to 60 pages, about 50 to 60 images per inspection report. And the way I set it up is that the roof system is inspected first, and that is the first system in the report, the roofing system. And then I break it down into certain sections of the roof section of the report. General information in the beginning, and then I break it down to method of evaluation, estimated age, general condition, the number of layers. We want 1 layer. I take a look at the flashing, the gutters and downspouts. We have some downspouts that are not diverting water away from the house. And then I break it down into other materials, roof materials, and the metal roof materials were in good shape. And then the next one would be the chimney and fireplace. And we have one problem that we'll get to later with a chimney stack. The old brick chimney stack was actually used by potbelly stoves in each bedroom upstairs. So there's one central chimney stack, right? And it's being used for stoves. And they pop holes in the chimney stack, insert a stove pipe from the stove in the room, and that used to radiate heat out. One of those holes in the wall is still there in the bedroom. So we'll get to that when we do the interior. But I don't know that quite now. Right now, I'm still inspecting the exterior. So for more courses on how to perform a home inspection, you can go to our main education page, and all of our courses are on nachi.org/education. And if you're a member of InterNACHI, you have free unlimited access to all of our courses. So there's two columns on this page. The left side column is the course, and the right side column are all of the approvals. So if you are a home inspector in any of these states, these are the states and countries and provinces that approve our courses, and they're all on the right side. But on the left side are all of our courses, and it goes on for a very long time. So if you're a member of InterNACHI, you have free unlimited access to free online training. Let's do a poll question. So if you can see the poll tab, you can click that tab, poll. And the question is, how many home inspections have you performed? And your response is totally anonymous. I'll give you about 10 seconds to answer the poll question, just to see where we are with our inspectors. So are you relatively new, 0 to 10 inspections? Are you just beginning, maybe the first year, up to 100? Are you a veteran, or have you been doing this for quite some time? So take that poll. If you're watching this video recording, you won't see any of the polls or the chats. You'll just be watching a video if you can't attend the live class. All right, so let's take a look. So there we go, we ended the poll. Most of you are beginning. So you perform 0 to 10 inspections, I see. And some of you are master veterans with over 1,000 inspections. That's interesting. How about this? So we have an offer. If you hit the tab for pop-ins, we have a discount offer, 50% discount for those attending the live class, this live class, 50% off your InterNACHI first year membership if you are a non-member attending this class. And what you do is you click the pop-in tab and you click I'm interested. And you go to a web page that pops up either into a new window or tab, and you can join right now. The offer ends at the end of this live class for 50% off if you are a non-member, and you get 50% off of your first year membership to InterNACHI if you're interested. So click that tab by the end of this class. All right, let's go to the exterior. When I go around the exterior, I'm still thinking about water, especially in this climate. It's going to be wet, and the drainage, the grading around the house should be sloped away. I like 6 inches for the first 10 feet. This is actually allowing water to puddle up right next to the foundation. And because it's an old historic home, I'm assuming it's going to be stone foundation. And stone has this amazing characteristic of absorbing water. And so I'm looking also for wood in contact with the ground. I'm looking at all of the walks, steps, stoops, stairways, and also the retaining walls and dense vegetation, so that we have a lot of vines here that is blocking my view of the structure of the wall. And I'm going to take a look at these stairs and the side patios, and we have settlement here. And for some reason, this porch, poured concrete, is settling, and not sure what's underneath it, but it should be jacked up because it's a bit of a trip hazard. And also I'm looking for any kind of wooden component on the outside of the house that is load bearing. And this front corner of the porch is load bearing, and the exterior condition of the paint is really bad. So I'm going to look for wood rot, and I'm going to use my simple screwdriver and use a prick test or a sounding test to listen for it. And then the bottom of this metal post is completely rusted away. There's my client in the back there. So that's a structural defect. I'm going to take a look at all the steps and stairways and ramps. Something's wrong with this. The steps are level. I carry a level. The steps are level, but the side porch there, the floor structure, is slanted. So it's a little bit too much. The railing is loose. A child can fall through. When this house was built and that railing was built, that was to code. But I know that the standard, and I know that codes, like we said before, are improved when someone gets hurt. So children started falling through railings like this, and so they adopted a new code. Maybe your state hasn't adopted the most recent code, but still I use the International Residential Code as a guide for looking for defects, especially those that might injure children. So a child can fall through. We don't want a ladder rung effect. We want nice vertical spindles spaced no more than 4 inches apart. So all of that is a safety hazard for small children. And the load-bearing post of that little side porch has settled because that concrete slab isn't really a footer. It's just a 1-inch little slab that they rest upon the ground, and the ground is wet, and so it's sinking in. And the structure itself isn't doing very well. The load-bearing joists that hold the floor joists, this floor structure, simply nailed. This one's over-nailed in that area, and there's separation. And the fasteners, the nail heads, and nails themselves are rusting away and corroding away. There's only 3 there. So it's really a structural defect, safety hazard. Don't want the deck to collapse. And then every building drain should have a vent stack. This one tends to be out on the outside of old historic homes. This one probably ran all the way up past the roof. But this one here, this is a direct vent into the sewer, and there are vent terminations that you can try to memorize for code, but I use code and vent terminations in the code to help guide my inspection. So I know that this vent termination for a stack, for a plumbing stack of a building drain, needs to be away from the window. I think if it's below it, can't be within 4 feet below an opening. So I know I'm in violation of that. Ideally, I want a plumber to come and tell me, is this okay? I don't think it is. Something's not quite right. This is at my head level. Sewer vent shouldn't be at the head level. Rusted bolts underneath this small deck. Settlement at the steps. So it's a trip hazard. I don't want the rise of the steps to be more than 3/8 of an inch in between any 2 steps. Taking a look at how water is around the house. So I see that the brick layer is the same level as the door tread at the basement door. And that's not very good. Water splashes, tends to splash up and onto the door. Water tends to pool or snow, melts, and then goes right in. The tread here is made out of concrete and it's all cracked, so it's allowing water penetration. The door itself is in poor shape, as you can see. So I'm making my way around the house. What I do is I get up on the roof first. I get there early so my client can see me while I'm up on the roof. They pull up in the driveway and I wave to them. I come down. I'm already done with my checklist, my report for the roof system. I shake their hand, give out cards, tell them what's going on. I ask them to invite them with me to go around the house. We do the exterior real quick in about 15 minutes. And then I push them inside, let them measure things, take a look at the inside. I'll tell them I'll be in and they won't miss a thing, especially if there's something wrong. And then I go around the house. I tend to go counterclockwise. When you do this for a while, you tend to do things over and over again in the same pattern so you don't miss anything. Roof, shake hands, around with the client, and around yourself in detail. So I'm looking at the downspouts, thinking about water. There's a downspout there. It goes and drains behind a retaining wall. And this retaining wall, might as well highlight it. Here's the downspout. It drains here. The retaining wall's here. And water blows through the retaining wall, cracks it open, and it drains out. So all of this is no good. What we want is nice drainage system. So this retaining wall made out of concrete masonry units, concrete block, has just absorbed all that moisture over the years and has simply literally exploded. They redid the sidewalk, which is great. There's the money shot. There's my truck. Always put that in the report. And then more, capillary effect where this dry masonry unit has absorbed moisture and has popped the face off. So the retaining walls are in really poor shape. It's almost falling over. And the concrete front steps have settled. It's a trip hazard. And I'm looking at the wooden porch, front porch, usually a little room underneath for storage. I'm looking for structural problems, water damage, wood damage, indications of infestation. Looking at the camera helps me take a look at everything. If I just tell myself I have to take a picture of everything, that forces me to look at everything. That's one of the tips. So when I'm doing that, I take a look at anything that intersects with another thing. So I have a load-bearing component vertical post with beams, 2 beam ends on top of a vertical post on a front exterior porch. That's where I'm going. So I take a look. It looks great because they just painted it for me. Try to paint over a lot of stuff. My screwdriver goes right through the wood rot. So there's a structural defect. This front porch beam end on top of the load-bearing post is completely rotten. Needs to be replaced. The foundation is all cracked up. It's made out of stone, and everywhere I see stone, I see cement parging, and that never really holds well unless you do it correctly. Heaving of the structure, this is the front porch. The masonry units have absorbed moisture through a crack at the masonry joint, the mortar joint, and has separated. And also roots grow into the foundation cracks as well. And roots, as they grow, pop stuff. So I'm going around the outside, and anything that's wooden, I'm either using the tip or the butt end, and I'm listening to how it sounds, and I'm also probing. I don't want to damage things, but if my screwdriver goes through something, my client should be kind of happy because I've found water damage and structural damage. And I'm taking pictures of everything that I inspect, as you can see. I'll do maybe 300 to 500 images, 2 to 10 minutes of video, and I give all of that stuff to my client. I don't hold back anything. I stick it on a USB, used to be a CD. Here's the electrical system, 2 meters, 100 amp lines going in, I see. So there may be 2 apartment units, something split, obviously. Maybe sometimes there's a hot water source, electric hot water source that's on a separate meter. Stucco looks great. Cement parging. The house is masonry. A couple cracks here and there where there's a window opening or a door opening. Dense vegetation is an inspection restriction. A digital image of the vegetation really explains that I can't see what's going on underneath. And there is a lot of cracked masonry underneath the dense vegetation. Exterior hose bibs in cold climates should be frost-free. This one is not. And the chimney stack looked great from the above, but there's actually water and efflorescence, salt deposits on the exterior side of the masonry chimney stack. And this one is the lined one. This one isn't the old stack. This is the modern lined flue. So I'm kind of concerned with the water that's dripping down the chimney stack on top of the stucco, which was white and gray. And the water marks are brown and rusty color. And it's coming from the crack. So there's some cracks right there. So there's water somehow inside coming out of cracks right about here. So I want to take a look at the attic space, see if I can see anything in there. The flashing was great. The flue from above was good. So I'm not sure what's going on. And that's about all I need to do. I really don't, I'm not in the business, I'm not an expert. I'm not in the business of diagnosing. I just want to see, I want to report things that give me indications of problems for my client. More stone masonry repairs needed. Those two pipes, for those you don't know about oil, northern climates use a lot of oil-fired heating systems like boilers, and the one on the left is fill and the one on the right is vent. I'm a little concerned about the diameter of the vent pipe. I believe code standard says it has to be a minimum of 1 1/4, and it's not right there. 1 1/4 in diameter. So there's the exterior report. Lots of pictures. I throw in lots of pictures, as much as I can. Good and bad. Someone asked me just recently today, what kind of images do you throw into an inspection report? Good and bad. The bad ones for sure, to help me explain the defects, but good ones as well, to just show what I'm inspecting, show my client what I'm inspecting. So InterNACHI has all these certification programs. We have over 30 certification programs, not just to be a certified home inspector, but we train and certify mold inspectors, energy inspectors, wood destroying organism inspectors, radon testers. And all of these certifications are free and online to members. So the first step is to join InterNACHI. Once you join InterNACHI as a member, a whole world of opportunity opens up to you. Everything after that is basically no cost. The certifications are of no additional cost to members. So whenever you're ready and you want to become certified in something, you can choose your certification. First you join, and then you get certified at no additional cost. And all the certification programs are online and free to members. And we have many certifications to choose from, as you can see. So just wanted to show you that. All right. I see a lot of chat going on. So Dan asks, what is your monthly cost to join InterNACHI? It's $49 a month or $499 a year. But if you're an attendee of this class and a non-member and you'd like to join, you click that pop-in offer. We have an offer of a 50% discount for all non-members for their first year membership to InterNACHI. And you have to click that big yellow button, I'm interested, in order to get to the discount page. All right, let's go to heating. When I see that, I know that I'm probably in a rental unit and the landlord has set the thermostat and has locked it. So that's a perforated plastic cover. There's the electric shutoff switch. Every heating system should have one. And there's the old, I don't know if you've seen my earlier posts on the message board, but this was the monster that we're going to look at today. It's a very old unit, like 100 years old or more. And it's oil fired. Used to be coal. You grabbed coal. The coal was delivered by horse and buggy and shoveled into a window, essentially, in the front porch, under the front porch, into a coal bin area. And you get your shovel and you turn around and you shovel it into the coal heating unit. And most of these didn't have any blower fans. There was no circulating fan. It was just all passive. So it's basically two cans, an interior can that got hot and the outer can that allowed air to circulate the hot can inside, and the hot air just rose up. Some were direct vent, like there was one big vent in the front hallway near the entry or the living room, and you stood on top of the heater, essentially. This one was capped off and pipes extended out, and then they attached a circular blower fan on it. But it's really old, really inefficient, and so my client was kind of happy that I put all these pictures in the report and explained all that. There were even some hazards, like a little test hole from an HVAC technician drills a test hole to test the flue gases, but they usually cap it. This one was not. That was the size of a dime, very big carbon monoxide problem there. And also there was a lot of debris on the floor. And it certainly looked to me like asbestos material. So we had some discussion about that hazardous carcinogen. There's a blower fan just sucking in air through the fins and around the hot can and into the pipes. So uneven distribution of heat, inefficient, old, unreliable. Some rooms didn't even have any heat source. So it was an interesting, there's some asbestos material. So I like to take a picture of the fibers and then suggest that a professional test for hazardous materials on the ductwork, which is commonly used on old heating systems and ductwork back then. And it's friable. It's not in good condition. So there's little chunks, flakes. EPA gives some general recommendations, like if it's in good condition, just leave it alone. But if it's in poor condition, it really should be attended to. And this is in poor condition. And so asbestos was basically in the air, dropping on the floor, being kicked up, and then sucked in to the system. So it wasn't it's not a very healthy indoor air quality issue there. Oil storage tank. Not many of you have seen this, but it's crazy. Tankers come by with a hose. They pump oil into a home. It fills up a tank, hopefully without leaking. One of the things that I do is I take a look at the belly of the tank, looking for rust, and then the legs. The legs have to be in great shape. And I use my screwdriver to hit the legs. There's the coal storage bin. So in the front of the house, underneath the porch, there's this little coal bin there. And the front porch was actually repaired in the past. A lot of water damage. And whenever there's water damage, I take a look for subterranean termites and carpenter ants. Carpenter ants love wet, water damaged wood. So my report had some really cool shots of the old heating system. Basically, I flagged it and said it should be replaced. And if you wanted to be a certified HVAC inspector, that's one of our certifications. And let's say you don't want to be certified, but you just want the training. Well, we have a really good training video course. A lot of our courses are all video based. And so here's one. And we go through heating systems, all of the heating systems, all the efficiencies from very low to very high, and even boiler systems. And we take a look at the heat exchangers as well. And all of those online video courses are free to our members. So again, you join InterNACHI, and then you have free online access to all the courses. And when you want to become certified, whenever you think you're ready, you can become certified by choosing one of the certification programs at no additional cost. Here's another poll. So take a look at the poll that I put up. Click the poll tab. If you're watching this video because you didn't attend the live class, you won't see any of this. So here's a poll. Do you provide a free home maintenance book for your clients? So InterNACHI has these home maintenance books. We have one specifically for Florida. This is our national one, and this is our one in Spanish. And you give this to your clients. One of the things that makes you different from all the rest So it's drilled as well for putting into a 3-ring binder and handing your clients something physically heavy. I used to just print out a summary report, felt kind of weak, so I started adding things into a binder, and we sell those binders in home maintenance books. So I'll give you a couple of seconds more. Do you provide anything like this, a home maintenance book? Maybe it's InterNACHI's home maintenance book, which is nice glossy cover, color on the outside, and full color on the inside as well. And within the home maintenance book, there are over a dozen additional reasons to hire you again. So it helps your business as well. All right, let's vote here and see what the results are. Cool. Do you provide a home maintenance book for your clients? Yes. 45% of you said yes, and 25% of you said that you provide InterNACHI's home maintenance book. Well, cool. And a lot of you say no. So there are many reasons why you provide your client with as much information as you can, so that, let's say, you happen to be in front of a judge. Well, you could say to the judge, Your Honor, I provide my client with as much information as I can. I explained this condition. I explained how I do my job, and then I let my client take over. Their responsibility comes right after I inspect the home. And the home maintenance book was given to them. The homeowner newsletter, InterNACHI has a free monthly homeowner newsletter you can sign your clients up to. Give them that information. Give them a ton of information. That helps your business. And it also gives those one of those unique selling points. Tell people that you give a home maintenance book, free home maintenance book to every client on your website, so that it gives them another reason to hire you. Let's go here. How about the second offer? There's a second offer. Let's take a look, see if I can pull that up. So the second offer is a free ebook. So if you take a look at the pop-in, and there's an offer there, and you click that button that says download now, and it takes you to a new tab or window to download this book. This is a physical printout of the book written by Gromicko, founder of InterNACHI, my brother. It's a huge book. It's titled How to Run a Successful Home Inspection Business. You can buy a physical book, or you can download a free ebook right off of the homepage of NACHI. So you go to nachi.org and you download that. So there's an offer there. All right, getting back to the class. We're on the electrical system. We're about 60% of the way through the home, and we're 45% of the way through our 1-hour class. So we may go long. When I go to a electrical panel, well, remember the 200 amp lines coming in? Well, here's our 2 100 amp panels. Relatively modern, but the house is vacant, turns out, and there are breakers that are off. And what I do before I even touch anything of the electrical panel, I take a picture. Take a picture of all the breakers that are off. And I simply use my finger to show that this is in the off position. Prior to me inspecting this electrical system, this breaker was turned off. It wasn't tripped, it was turned off. Whether it was tripped or turned off, you never reset it. If it's off, you leave it off. If it has been tripped off, that could be a serious problem. So take a picture of that tripped off. It's usually red or yellow when it's right in the middle. Never reset a breaker that's been turned off. It could really hurt someone. So there's another breaker that's been turned off, a 20 amp breaker. These breakers are not labeled very well. There are numbers next to them, but there's no labeling. You do not have to pull the dead front cover off. If you do, you can use like a magnetic handle to help you pull it off safely. Use PPE. Never look at anything electrical. I don't care what the voltage is. Never look at anything electrical without protecting your eyes. There is some arcing problems that could develop inside a residential electrical panel. And you just don't want anything flashing on you. This isn't high voltage, but still you should protect yourself at all times. So in our training, we go over PPE. You have to stay safe. Stay safe is number one. And You want to come back home after the inspection, for sure. And you're not required to pull off the dead front cover. But if you are trained to do so, I did. And that was part of my branding as well, part of my service. And why I did that is, well, I had a bit of an advantage. I could size the gauge of the wire to the size of the breaker. So there's, let's see if I can do this with my scratch. 15 amp, 14 gauge. 15 amp, 14 gauge. 15 amp, 14 gauge. 30 amp, 10 gauge. Okay, what's the next? Let's see if I can, did I do this right? Yeah. Well, how about this one? We've got 15 amp, 14 gauge. 20 amp, yeah, a 12 gauge. 15 amp, 14 gauge. 20 amp, 14, it all looks good. So I'm looking for ampacity problems, I call them, right? Overfusing. Big breakers on small wires. That's not what we want. And we want to also identify for our clients the type of wiring, BX, conduit, monoRomex, knob and tube, whatever is available for you to see. And then we have a 40 amp breaker here that's in the off position as well. So 2 100 amp breakers, poorly labeled. I really have no idea where they're going. So I want an electrician to come in after me and help my client understand where these circuits are going throughout the house and explain what is being split. Plumbing. So if you want to figure out what you are required to do in plumbing, so you go to the SOP, you click the plumbing link. Inspector shall inspect all of these things: the main water shutoff valve, fuel supply shutoff valve, water source heating, water heating equipment, interior water supply, the drainage, the toilets, the sinks, the tubs, all that good stuff. And that helps guide your inspection. So in this home, we had 2 hot water sources. One was electric, one was propane. And there's the electric hot water tank. I take a picture of the manufacturing label, which gives me size and serial number. It gives me also a hint on date. Cold water shutoff valve, electric line, grounding wire, TPR valve extended. There's the cast iron sewer line. And some of the water supply lines were split. So some were cut off and redirected. And there's the other hot water tank, supplying hot water to the other part of the house. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on in this home. And I realize I've got 2 meters. I have essentially 2 front doors, the 2 porches that we inspected. One was up. Remember the poor structure, deteriorated structure and the bad railings? That was an entry, main entry, and then there's a front porch with some problems there. Now we have 2 electrical panels, 2 meters, 2 hot water sources. Essentially, there's a residential unit that was split into 2 rental units. The valve was turned off prior to my inspection, so I like to put that in the report. That's an inspection restriction. Natural draft, so I'm concerned with that chimney flue. And this is the unlined flue. So the propane hot water source is using the old brick unlined chimney. And there's a lot of things going on the top of the hot water tank as well. And there's the flue connection pipe. With looks like some soot or backdrafting going on around the pipe. So I'm kind of concerned about all this. So I'm glad a professional is coming in after me. And it's connected to this chimney stack. Remember that in the beginning of the class? That's the idea of that I'm trying to get across, that systems are interdependent. A house is a system of interdependent parts. So you're inspecting one part, you're inspecting the roof, but you come across a chimney and you have to figure out what is going on. And especially looking for safety hazards like this. So we actually have a couple holes. Remember I was talking about way back when they had pot-belly stoves in the bedrooms. They put the stove in the bedroom to radiate some heat, and this flue pipe, the stove pipe, would go into a hole in the wall that would penetrate into that flue. And so we have a bunch of holes in the house going up the chimney stack, and this is one of them down in the basement. And the water meter, required to inspect that. It was underneath the sink there. and old water shutoff valve. I never test any water valves, but I identify the really old ones, especially the ones that are main water shutoff valves that are not ball valves. Ball valves are great. Structure, we're required to inspect the structure. I take a lot of pictures of any inspection restrictions and the types of foundations. So there's my stone foundation that I assumed, and there it is exposed, there it is covered, and I know I have drainage problems on the outside. I have downspouts dumping hundreds of gallons of water per rainstorm right next to the stone foundation. Stone foundations are porous. They absorb water with capillary action and force, and I'm expecting some moisture or dampness in the basement. And sure enough, I find it in just about all the nooks and crannies. So there's my extendable pole with a moisture meter. It's essentially 2 prongs on the end of a pole. And I'm in the world of qualification, not quantification. I could care less what the moisture count is, the moisture content in numbers. I don't measure anything. As a generalist, as a home inspector, we don't need to measure or quantify anything or calculate anything. So that goes back to my other comment about staying within the scope of a home inspection, staying as a generalist, not an expert. So this will give me an audible sound and a visible indicator, and it's wet. And it's also been damaged by termites. So there's a couple things going on in the basement. That's obviously wet. Just taking a look at the floor structure around the basement, anything that I can find. And here's that one basement door with the cracked concrete tread. Water comes in. The basement floor is essentially the same level as the tread, which is on the same level as the brick, which is the same level as the ground. So just water just has an easy path coming in. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. The foundation wall is bulging, and they've been parging it like crazy, but water just keeps coming in. And some prior infestation and repair at the front porch. There. A little bit of coal left in the coal area underneath the front porch, and have a spiral staircase, which is essentially a hazard. There's a standard by which you can build a spiral staircase where the treads are not a trip hazard. In this house, the treads are a trip hazard, and there's no railing either. So inspection tools. We have an article about home inspection equipment for a lot of you who took that poll and said that you have done hardly any home inspections. So here's an article about home inspection equipment, and we go over just about the most common tools you could use during a home inspection with big pictures and explanations of what they do. And I have some of them here, actually. So the one I like most recently is my infrared camera that attaches to my iPhone 5. This was a couple $100. I think home inspectors should use infrared if they're properly trained. If you're not properly trained, don't. You should be trained and certified. And this was an affordable tool that essentially helps me confirm what I see visually, but it also, you'll learn what this actually does. It senses actually surface temperature. It doesn't see through walls or anything like that. It's not X-ray. My first infrared camera was $5,000. I paid it off by simply increasing my fees because I included for free thermal imaging with my home inspection. I also packaged infrared thermal inspections in a package. So that's one tool there. And you bring a measuring tape just to measure things like how far, remember that vent pipe underneath the deck, you know, how far above ground it is or away from an opening. Here's a GFCI receptacle. Here's a moisture meter. It has a probe, has an indicator. It also quantifies, but I could care less what the actual moisture content is. All I want to know is, does this thing ring when it's wet? And it has some probes here. Some of you, like in Texas, are required to test the flow and the pressure of the hot water, of the water source, water supply in the house. There's a microwave detector. You stick this in a microwave. Here's some directions. Put a glass of water right next to it, and then when the microwaves hit it, inside the unit, inside the microwaves. The light turns on. It's like that shock and awe effect. Here's a small GFCI tester, pretty common. I like to use those, but they're the big ones, right? So you can do the GFCI and the AFCI testing as well. And that's about it. Those are the most common tools. I like this one because you can pull the head, the screwdriver head off, and you now have something that can take off maybe a jacket off of an evaporator coil. And also Inspector Outlet. That's our e-commerce partner. So go to Inspector Outlet if you haven't, inspectoroutlet.com, inspectoroutlet.com, for all the things you need related to inspecting, including flashlights, moisture meters, GFCI testers, infrared cameras, and also textbooks. So if you wanted to buy training materials as well, there's textbooks, and as well as the home maintenance books that InterNACHI has. We also have field guides. This is an awesome one. I love this one. This is a wood destroying insect guide. So your client can understand what you're looking at, and you can confirm what you're seeing as well. I mean, you could take a look at this. Is this a carbonary ant or a subterranean termite? Depending upon how the antenna is bent, right? Also, InterNACHI provides standards of practice so if you're inspecting commercial properties, we have a SOP for commercial properties. You can download this book for free off of our homepage. But we also have, if you're into textbooks, we have plenty of reading material. InterNACHI provides all of these printed texts and the PDF format as well. I think that's all I wanted to show you. All right. Back to the attic. They stapled felt paper, tar paper, on the bottom side of the roof rafters. I don't know, maybe it was like an insulation kind of thing, an attempt to insulate it or capture maybe some debris that would fall off from the old wood shingle roof or something. I don't know, but you don't need it there. What I noticed is that the felt paper that was on the floor of the attic had water stains in circles, and that showed me that in the cold climate, in this attic, the fasteners from the roofing nails that come through, the tips, form frost because warm, moist air is coming from the home and condensing on the nails, and the nails are dripping. So taking a look at those things might give you an indication of what's going on. Next time you go up in an attic in a cold climate, take a look at below the roof nails. See if there are any water drops. Looking for moisture. So we do have that problem with this chimney stack. There's a lot of moisture going on over there. And the window in the attic has been duct taped. And hardly any insulation in the attic floor. And there's no insulation at the attic door going up into the attic from the second floor finished rooms. And so I throw in a couple pages about the attic and the insulation, lack of insulation. There are signs of condensation problems and ventilation issues up there. The bathrooms are not specifically listed in the SOP. They're under plumbing, the plumbing section of the SOP. But I group them in my inspection report for my client to fully understand that I inspected all the bathrooms and the fixtures. And I take these pictures and I try to add them to my inspection report, showing that I flush the toilets, run the sinks and the showers and the tubs. I like to have a plumbing access panel for every tub and shower. There's missing one there. Probably knob and tube, ungrounded wiring in the walls of this old home. The GFCI is installed, great, but it's ungrounded wiring, probably throughout the house. The wall receptacles didn't have any grounding, so they have GFCIs all over the place. The doors, windows, receptacles, doors, windows, receptacles, doors, windows, receptacles, more receptacles, more receptacles, so ungrounded receptacles. Not every room has a heat source. The interior is basically simple. There's a heat source, there's a register underneath a wall, partially blocked. Not sure what's going on there. And any smoke detector that is yellow really should be replaced. I think the standard is every 10 years, just replace the entire smoke detector unit and change the batteries when you change the clocks. Fireplace is part of the SOP. If there is a fireplace or stove, and there essentially was one, so I inserted this under the fireplace section. The pot belly stove that used to be in the bedrooms used to connect into the old flue liner, and that hole is still there. It's been capped off with an aluminum or steel plate, like a dish. So that's really a hazard. It's incredibly hazardous. So I'm going to flag that and tell my client about that. There's propane, not really capped off very well. And the electrical line, not securely, not very safe. If the breaker turns on, someone's going to get zapped. That's for the dryer. This is in the laundry room. The laundry room sink is missing. Kitchen. Take a look at the kitchen appliances. We have a course on how to inspect kitchen appliances if you're interested. It's free and online to members. And this kitchen had 2 stoves. Again, because of the split of all of the things, like the 2 entrances, the 2 meters, the 2 panels, the 2 hot water sources. Well, they have 2 kitchens, stoves, like a rental unit. Looking for just running water, hot and cold, looking for any kind of leaks, testing GFCIs. And then when I was in the kitchen, I realized I'm standing on the floor and there's something underneath. And I haven't been underneath, haven't been under here. It's hollow, it's not a slab on grade, and I haven't been underneath. It's got to be a crawl space. And if there's a crawl space, I'm going in. So I finally find the opening. I went around the exterior, couldn't find an opening, did it a second time, and here it is. So this is the last section of my inspection report, last section of my inspection service. There's a crawl space underneath the kitchen, and it's in really interesting condition. A lot of spider webs, but also a lot of lint and asbestos, more asbestos material hanging off of ductwork. The ground, the stone foundation wall is there. Some of it is poured concrete from later times when they use concrete instead of stone. And the floor is uncovered. There should be a nice thick vapor barrier to prevent natural ground moisture from entering the crawl space. The crawl space is not ventilated and it's not insulated. The floor structure of the kitchen above the crawl space is not insulated. So a lot of asbestos in this home. And there's a drum drain underneath the tub of the first floor. That should be replaced. Those drums just fill up with debris, eventually clogging, and some sewer lines, some cast iron lines. Cast irons tend to crack along the line, along the pipe itself, or pinholes start to develop from inside out. And I take my screwdriver and I simply tap it to see if I can get it to leak or crack. And this plumbing system was not supported very well, as you can tell. So again, standard, poor workmanship. If that fell over, I'm not sure what the thousands of pounds of cast iron pipe would do. Probably just fall right through. Yeah, and there's my client, all happy. He's staying outside and I'm inside the crawl space. He's getting his money's worth. What's all the lint for? Well, the dryer has been exhausting into the crawl space underneath the kitchen and laundry for many years. So there's a really good shot there. And the structural part of my report, I simply break it down into general information, basement restrictions, and then the type of foundation, stone, poured concrete, floor type and condition, and then any signs of water, yes indications or no indications, and then inspection restrictions. Wood damage, I always look for wood damage because I'm thinking about water intrusion, and I'm also looking for anything that follows water moisture. which is anything that destroys wood, wet wood, termites, carpenter ants, bugs. And I already showed you the field guide for WDO. It's from InterNACHI. It's a really awesome field guide. Lots of pictures. And we also have a course. So if you go to nachi.org/WDO course, we have an online course free to members of InterNACHI to train you on inspecting for WDO. Anything that damages wood is part of my service. And we also have a checklist form. Now, my client at this home inspection was absent. So part of my report is a simple picture of the front of the house, but a little paragraph that explains why I prefer my client to be with me, so that if there's ever a problem later on, I have documented that my client wasn't even with me during the inspection. They didn't even make it during the inspection. So we could have maybe resolved some issues at that time during the inspection, which was probably the best time to go over some of the issues or answer the questions that they may have had. I want to leave you with 2 URLs. These are really important. nachi.org/webinar is where we have all of our past webinars, video recordings. You can watch them anywhere from webinars about software to how to become a certified home energy inspector. And everything, the nachi.org/everything, has a 15 step-by-step checklist on how to run a successful home inspection business. So go to that page there, /everything. You'll find everything that you need to run a successful home inspection business. And that is the end of our class. We went a little bit over, and I think having 1,000 students ask me questions during the live class is just not going to work out. I'm going to maybe go through some of the questions right now. If you want to stick around, you can, but I'm going to answer them offline. And so I'll email you if I can soon, within the next couple of days. But remember those 2 URLs. So if you're going to leave, write those 2 URLs down, take a screenshot, and go there, and make sure you get to all of our past classes and everything you need to run a successful home inspection business. And let's see, what do we have here? Does InterNACHI still offer discount? Whoops. For health insurance through anyone? No. We have a card that provides discounts. It's the health card. So if you email me, I can send you the information. Oh, if I don't get to your question, you can always email me. I'm on the contact page, nachi.org/contact. You'll find me there. A lot of people are saying that they agree. They don't want to stay for the questions and answers, and they're leaving. So I want to thank you all for joining us during this home inspection training class, number 8. And my name is Ben Gromicko. I'm from InterNACHI. Feel free to contact me via email would be best, because my reply is going to be a link to some information that you're requesting. And goodbye, everybody. I'll see you later.